Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a Get Ready With Me work edition. This is typically what I do for work before I go for like a double or a really long shift. So I start off with using my Palmer's Cocoa Butter Daily Facial Moisturizer. This is my holy grail facial moisturizer. I have yet to find anything in comparison to it. I think it's 10 times better than the Clinique Dramatically Different one, and I was using that for a hot minute, but this one's much better. And then I move on to use the foundation. I use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus. I don't always use foundation, but I typically will do it if I'm doing a more subtle look, like more natural, just because I think it kind of blends out the skin really well. And if I'm doing a more dramatic look, obviously I'll use it too, but if I'm going to work, I definitely try to if I'm going to be there for a long time. And then I just wet my brush with Mario Badescu water, but you could just use regular water as well if you don't have that. I just prefer the Mario Badescu water. And I just spread it all over my face. I only use about 4 drops, I would say. It has like a weird little like spoon that you kind of use to get it out. And I just use about 4 like swipes of that, and then I keep re-wetting my brush because I don't like when foundation feels really dry, so I like it to feel a little more like wet and sticky. So that's my preference, but if you don't like it that way, you can always just use it with a dry brush, and I think it'll come out a lot more matte that way, but I prefer a more dewy look. And then moving on to eyebrows, I always use the Wet n Wild eyebrow like glide on gel pencil. I'm not really sure what it's called. A retractable brow pencil. It's like gel actually. It's not really wax or pomade. It's like a gel, and it's my favorite brow product. You could really try this in replace of the Anastasia Brow Wiz. This works really well, and it's about $3. So if you're on a budget like me, or you don't like spending a lot of money on makeup, I would just recommend trying this. You can find it at pretty much any drugstore, department store, etc. And I just fill in my brows as good as I can. I'm not really too precise with them because I don't think like really sharp brow for work is like really necessary, so I just try to fill them in as best I can, just give them a nice shape, and yeah, I call it a day. Bam, brows are done. Moving on to concealer. I don't always do this if I'm going to use foundation. Sometimes I'll just skip this step, but for today I decided to go ahead and do it. And I use the Rimmel Match Perfection foundation or concealer. I think it works the best. It's really blendable. It's not oily, it's not sticky, and I usually use this in combination with the Maybelline Age Rewind concealer, but it's getting to be too light for me for the summer, and then this one is a little bit darker for me, so now that I'm getting tanner, this one's going to be my go-to for sure. And I just put little swipes under my eyes and then pat it in with my fingers. I don't use any brushes. I think brushes are kind of like really awkward for me under my eyes, so I just think the finger blends it in a lot better because they're warm, and I just get a better look overall with using my fingers. But feel free to use whatever you like. And FYI, I just wanted to throw it in real quick, I am wearing lash extensions, so that is why I'm skipping the mascara step in this video. So if y'all are wondering, that is why I do my own lash extensions. I will be making a video on that, but just wanted to let you guys know. And moving on to my favorite step, which is the blush. I just use any random blush. This one's my go-to. It's the Milani Luminoso, I believe, blush, or Dolce Pink. I'm not really sure which one that is. And I just go ahead and swipe that on my cheeks. Nothing special. I'm not really a huge blush person. I actually don't have a lot of them, even though it's my favorite step. I only have about like 3 or 4. I really need to build up my makeup collection, but this one's definitely the one I go to for almost every single look. I think it just goes with all of them. So I just go ahead and swipe a little bit of that on my face, and then I move on to highlighter. So I use the Wet n Wild highlighter, and it's in Pearl, I believe. I want to say it's in Pearl, but I'm not really sure. And I just use this with a little brush. I don't even know if this is a highlighter brush. I'm not like a huge makeup person, but I just use a little like tiny brush to swipe it on my cheekbones, on my nose, and then I do over my Cupid's bow in a second here. I find that just highlighting those places just really gives you a good glow. I will do this even if I'm not wearing any makeup, just this for the day, and throw on some chapstick, and I always get compliments on my skin. And to top it off, I just use Carmex. This is just the cherry flavored one. I'm not a huge fan of lipsticks when going to work because you have to continuously like reapply them for them to look cute. So I just use a little bit of lip gloss and call it a day. So that is the finished look for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's really what I do on a daily basis, not even just for work, but sometimes if I'm going out or going to be doing more errands or something, I will do a little bit more makeup just because I have more time. But if you're in a crunch to go to work or you're a workaholic, this should work just well for you. So hope you guys enjoyed. Please hit the notification button to get notified when I put up videos, and obviously the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, and I will see you guys in the next one.